Once, long ago, in a land far away, there lived a four-letter character who ran through a maze looking for cheese to nourish them and make them happy. Two were mice named Sniff and Scurry, and two were little people, beings who were as small as mice, but who looked and acted a lot like people today. Their names were Hem and Hoa. Due to their small size, it would be easy not to notice what the four of them were doing. But if you looked close enough, you could discover the most amazing things. Every day, the mice and the little people spent time in the maze looking for their one special cheese. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, possessing only simple lot brains, but good instincts, searching for the hard-nibbling cheese they liked, as mice often do. The two little people, Hem and Hoa, used their brains, filled with many beliefs, to search for a very different kind of cheese, with a capital C, which they believed would make them feel happy and successful. As different as mice and little people were, they shared something in common. Every morning, they each put on their jogging suit and running shoes, left their little homes, and raced out into the maze, looking for their forever cheese. The maze was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, some containing delicious cheese, but there were also dark corners and blind lanes leading nowhere. It was an easy place for anyone to get lost. However, for those who found their way, the maze held secrets that let them enjoy a better life. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, used a simple but ineffective trial and error method of finding cheese. They ran down a corridor, and if it proved empty, they turned and ran down another. They remembered the calories of the cheese and could calculate. Sniff would race ahead. They got lost, as I might expect, went off in the wrong direction, and often bumped into the walls. However, the real people, Hem and Hoa, had very complex brains, with beliefs and emotions in life remains complicated and challenging. They realized sophisticated math sound of cheese. They depend on their ability to think when playing, experience, or will believe sometimes clouded by the look they think. Eventually, in their own way, they all discovered what they were looking for. They each found their own kind of cheese one day, at the end of the corridor in Cheese Station C. Every morning after that, the mice and the little people, dressed in their running gear and headed over to Cheese Station C. It wasn't too long before they each established their own routine. Sniff and Scurry continued to wake early every day and race through the maze, always following the same route. When they arrived their destination, the mice took off their running shoes, tied them together, and hung them around their necks, so they could get to them quickly whenever they need them again. Then they enjoyed the cheese. In the beginning, Ham and Hoa also raced toward Cheese Station C every morning to enjoy the tasty new morsels that awaited them. But after a while, a different routine set in for the little people. Ham and Hoa awake each day a little later, dressed a little slower, and walked to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew what the cheese was now and how to get there. They had no idea where the cheese came from or put there. They just assumed it would be there. As soon as Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C each morning, they settled down and made themselves at home. They hung up their jogging suits, put away their running shoes, and put on their slippers. They were becoming very comfortable now. They were becoming very comfortable now. Then they had found the cheese. This is great, Ham said. There's enough cheese here to last us forever. The little people felt happy and successful and thought they were now secure. It wasn't long before Ham and Hoa got the cheese they found at Cheese Station C as their cheese. It was such a large store of cheese that they eventually moved their homes to be closer to it and built a social life around it. To make themselves feel more at home, Ham or Hoa decorated the wall with sayings and even drew pictures of cheese around them, which make them smile. One read, "Having cheese makes you happy." Sometimes Ham and Hoa would take their friends by to see their pile of cheese at Cheese Station C and point to it with pride, saying, "Pretty nice cheese, huh?" Sometimes they shared it with their friends, and sometimes they didn't. "We deserve this cheese," Ham said. "We certainly had to work long and had enough to find it." He picked up the nice fresh piece and ate it. Afterwards, Ham fell asleep, as he often did. Every night, the little people would waddle home full of cheese, and every morning they confidently returned for more. This went on quite some time. After a while, Ham and Hoa's confidence grew into the arrogance and success. Soon they became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. As time went on, Sniff and Scurry continued their routine. They arrived early each morning and sniffed and scratched and scurried around Cheese Station C inspecting the area to see if there had been any changes from the day before. Then they would sit down, nibble on the cheese. One morning they arrived to Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They weren't surprised, since Sniff and Scurry had noticed the supply of cheese had been getting smaller every day. They were prepared for inevitable and instinctively what to do. They looked at each other. They moved the running shoes they had tied together and hung conveniently around their neck, put them on their feet, and laced them up. The mice did not overanalyze things, and they were not burdened with many complex beliefs. To the mice, the problem and the answer were both simple. The situation at Station C had changed. So Sniff and Scurry decided to change. They both looked out into the maze. Then Sniff lifted his nose, and nodded to Scurry, who took off running through the maze, while Sniff followed as fast as he could. They walked quickly off in search of new cheese. Later that same day, Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C. They had not been paying attention to the small changes that had been taking place each day, so they took it for granted their cheese would be there. They were unprepared for what they found. What? No cheese? Ham yelled. He continued to yell, "No cheese? No cheese?" As though if he shouted loud enough, someone would put it back. "Who moved my cheese?" he hollered. Finally, he put his hands on hips, his face turned red, and screamed at the top of the voice, "It's not fair!